This message matters because this is not about fear, hype, or coincidence. It's about patterns you've seen before, signs you felt in your spirit, and moments you dismissed thinking you had more time. Many people believe God keeps sending endless chances, but the truth is, seasons close. When warnings repeat and are ignored, consequences replace instructions. From my understanding, looking back at the past always makes things clearer. You can trace every ignored nudge, every uneasy feeling, every door that felt wrong but was walked through anyway. This isn't judgment, this is awareness. Now listen carefully, because this part is for you. If this message is hitting you deeply, it's because you are standing at a crossroads. You've ignored red flags in relationships, decisions, habits, or direction, not because you're bad, but because comfort felt easier than obedience. God is saying it's too late, not because He doesn't love you, but because the version of life you're trying to hold on to is expired. If you return now, mentally, spiritually, intentionally, alignment is still possible. But if you keep moving forward while ignoring truth, you risk losing clarity, peace, protection, and purpose. Things will start slipping: motivation, connections, stability. This is the moment where delay becomes loss. The warning itself is mercy. If this message resonates, don't ignore it like the others. Pause for a second, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this truth before it's too late. Leave a comment below with "I return now" as a declaration, not to the algorithm, but as a personal decision. Stay until the end, because understanding this message fully could be the difference between recovery and regret. This is urgent. This is real. And if you're hearing this now, it means the door is still barely open, but only for those willing to turn back immediately. There comes a moment in the life of a chosen soul when divine patience reaches its limit. God speaks not through whispers or subtle signs anymore, but with clarity that cannot be ignored. This is that moment, a final, urgent call for alignment. The universe itself seems to pause, holding its breath, as if signaling that the time for delay is over. You are standing at the crossroads of destiny, and your next steps will determine the trajectory of your spiritual journey. The warning is not meant to scare you, but to awaken a profound sense of urgency. Every action you have taken or failed to take has led you to this pivotal point. The opportunities to correct course were many, yet hesitation or misunderstanding allowed distance to grow between you and God. Now, the consequences are visible. Doors remain shut, prayers feel unheard, and the weight of unresolved struggles presses harder than ever. This is not random misfortune. It is the direct outcome of ignoring divine instruction. The final warning carries both challenge and hope. It demands immediate reflection, sincere repentance, and decisive action. The gravity of this warning lies in the realization that time is finite. Every moment spent in distraction, doubt, or disobedience draws you closer to a threshold that may not be reversible. God's voice, often gentle, now resonates with the authority of finality. He is calling you to rise above old patterns, to leave behind the complacency that has kept you misaligned, and to fully embrace your sacred purpose. This is not just a warning, it is a life-altering invitation to reclaim your place in divine alignment before it is too late. Life is full of signals, subtle and clear, meant to guide you toward the right path. For the chosen ones, these signals are especially profound. Acts of divine communication in the form of opportunities, warnings, or even gentle nudges. Ignoring them is not merely a lapse in judgment. It is a spiritual choice with lasting impact. Every red flag you bypassed, every lesson left unlearned, has been noticed in the heavens. God observes not to punish, but to prepare for correction. The danger of ignoring these signs is that they often escalate in intensity. The first is subtle, perhaps a quiet dissatisfaction or an unresolved conflict. The second may bring emotional or spiritual discomfort that forces reflection. But when the third appears, the unmistakable hand of God intervening, it leaves no room for delay. You cannot claim ignorance anymore. Each missed opportunity to respond, aligned with divine guidance, has consequences that ripple across your life, manifesting in relationships, finances, health, and emotional stability. What is crucial to understand is that these red flags are not random misfortunes. They are deliberate markers designed for your awakening. They are part of God's loving strategy to bring you back into alignment before you reach a point of no return. Recognizing and responding to them is not optional, it is essential. Your awareness, humility, and readiness to act define the difference between a life lived in divine harmony and one continually struggling against unseen resistance. Ignoring God's guidance does not come without repercussions. There are three major consequences that unfold in a chosen one's life when signs are neglected. The first is spiritual misalignment, a disconnect that leaves your soul restless, decisions unclear, and life's purpose obscured. This initial misalignment may feel subtle at first, like a shadow across your joy, but its presence grows until it becomes undeniable, pulling you further from divine clarity. The second consequence is what can be called the activation of the recovery system. Life begins to present challenges that force reflection and growth. These difficulties, while uncomfortable, are not meant to punish, but to awaken the soul. They serve as a mirror, revealing the areas where alignment has faltered. It may appear as repeated setbacks, emotional turbulence, or situations that seem to drain your energy without resolution. These experiences are, in fact, God's way of steering you back toward the path you were meant to walk. The third consequence is direct divine intervention. This is where God personally steps in, intervening for the point of no return. It may manifest as sudden disruptions, closed doors, or an undeniable inner pressure to change. Unlike previous warnings, this is not gentle, it is urgent and uncompromising. The message is clear: return now or risk losing the opportunity to align completely with your sacred purpose. Recognizing these three stages can empower you to respond with urgency, wisdom, and wholehearted commitment to realignment. Misalignment with God is not always dramatic. It often starts as a quiet drift away from your true self and divine purpose. When your priorities, actions, and desires no longer harmonize with His guidance, spiritual tension grows. You may feel a subtle emptiness, a restlessness that cannot be satisfied by material success, relationships, or achievements. This first spiritual breakdown is your soul's way of signaling that something critical needs attention. When this misalignment deepens, it begins to affect every layer of your life. Decisions feel heavier, relationships become strained, and progress in your personal or professional life seems to stall. This is not coincidence. It is the natural consequence of existing out of sync with divine order. The more you ignore the signs, the more pronounced the imbalance becomes, creating a cycle of frustration and missed opportunities. Yet within this breakdown lies the potential for awakening. Recognizing the misalignment, admitting where you went astray, and choosing to redirect your energy toward God initiates the healing process. Spiritual alignment is a dynamic, active pursuit. It requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to confront the habits, attachments, or mindsets that drew you away. The first breakdown, though painful, is also the first opportunity for a profound spiritual rebirth. Once misalignment has been established, God activates a system designed to restore balance, the recovery system. Unlike human interventions, this system operates on divine precision, addressing the root causes of misalignment and guiding you through a process of spiritual, emotional, and practical correction. The awakening of this system can feel uncomfortable, even overwhelming, but it is ultimately a blessing in disguise. The recovery system works in stages, starting with internal reflection and accountability. You may experience challenges that force you to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself and your choices. These challenges are not punishments. They are opportunities to learn, adjust, and strengthen your connection with God. Every difficulty, setback, or closed door is strategically placed to redirect your focus and energy toward alignment. As the recovery system unfolds, you begin to notice changes in perception, intuition, and understanding. Situations that once seemed chaotic start making sense, and lessons that were previously ignored become clear. It is during this awakening that your ability to respond to divine guidance is tested. Those who embrace it with humility, trust, and deliberate action can emerge stronger, wiser, and fully prepared to realign with God's plan, experiencing breakthroughs that had seemed impossible before. When the signs have been repeatedly ignored, God moves beyond gentle guidance and steps directly into your life. This intervention is not subtle. It is unmistakable, designed to stop you from crossing a line that cannot be undone. Imagine a hand holding back a runner who is dangerously close to falling off a cliff. That is the nature of divine intervention: protective, corrective, and urgent. It is a message that you cannot afford to delay or dismiss. This direct intervention often comes in unexpected forms. Closed opportunities, sudden changes in plans, or intense inner discomfort are ways God forces you to pause and reflect. At first, it may feel frustrating or unfair, but every action has a purpose. The universe conspires to redirect you back to alignment, even if it disrupts your current path. Understanding this transforms obstacles from burdens into signs of care and divine precision. The critical lesson here is that God's intervention is a mark of love, not punishment. It is evidence that you are still considered a chosen one, with potential to fulfill your destiny. But it also carries urgency. If ignored, the point of no return draws closer. Those who recognize and embrace this intervention with humility and immediate action are granted the chance to restore alignment, reclaim their spiritual balance, and walk confidently toward their God-given purpose. God's greatest gift to chosen ones is free will, the ability to make decisions, even wrong ones, without interference. This freedom is both empowering and testing, as it allows you to choose obedience or distance. It is through these choices that true faith, character, and devotion are revealed. Without free will, alignment would be mechanical. With it, alignment becomes a conscious, powerful act of love and trust. Tests of free will are often disguised as everyday decisions, whether to act with integrity, forgive, prioritize God's guidance, or follow personal desire. Each choice, no matter how small, sends ripples across your spiritual life. Ignoring these moments or choosing the wrong path repeatedly sets the stage for misalignment, struggle, and eventual awakening through the recovery system. In essence, free will is the training ground for spiritual resilience. Understanding the nature of these tests shifts your perspective from fear to opportunity. Life's trials are not punishments, they are divine exercises designed to strengthen your alignment, reveal your true priorities, and cultivate spiritual maturity. By consciously choosing obedience, authenticity, and trust in God, you demonstrate the readiness to step fully into your role as a chosen one. And the universe responds with favor, clarity, and provision. There comes a time when delays, distractions, and doubts no longer serve you. You are now in a pivotal phase where returning to God is not optional, it is essential. This is a spiritual threshold where every decision matters and every action has amplified consequences. The stakes are higher than ever, as misalignment at this stage can create prolonged challenges that impact your purpose, relationships, and inner peace. During this phase, you may feel heightened tension in life. Doors that once opened easily are now closed. Prayers may seem unanswered, and even your best efforts appear fruitless. This is intentional. It is the spiritual wake-up call urging you to take decisive action. The universe, in tandem with divine orchestration, is pushing you to recognize that only alignment with God can restore flow, clarity, and breakthrough. This is the moment for introspection and action. It requires courage to admit past missteps, humility to seek correction, and determination to implement change immediately. Those who embrace this critical phase with awareness and responsiveness often emerge with greater wisdom, renewed purpose, and a deep, unshakable connection with God. This is not a season for hesitation. It is a call to rise, reclaim, and realign. When you have drifted from alignment, prayers can feel heavy, distant, or seemingly ineffective. This is not because God is absent or unhearing, it is because divine timing and receptivity are influenced by alignment. Just as a radio only works when tuned to the correct frequency, your prayers resonate fully only when your heart, actions, and intentions are aligned with God's will. Unanswered prayers are often a sign that God is waiting for the deeper transformation. They push you to evaluate priorities, release hidden disobedience, and seek authenticity in your relationship with Him. This silence can feel frustrating or even painful, but it is a divine mechanism to awaken self-reflection and renewed commitment. By recognizing the reasons behind these spiritual blockages, you gain clarity on how to restore connection and open pathways for intervention. Patience, trust, and deliberate action are essential at this time. Realignment through sincere repentance, harmonizing your goals with God, and following His guidance restores the flow of blessings, solutions, and divine favor. Once alignment is re-established, prayers not only begin to bear fruit, but do so with power, precision, and lasting impact, reinforcing the profound importance of spiritual obedience and authenticity. Life can often lull us into a false sense of normalcy, where struggles are perceived as temporary or coincidental. But this season is different. It is not a random series of obstacles. It is a divine demand for realignment. The challenges you face, the frustrations you endure, and the doors that remain closed are all part of a higher orchestration, signaling that God requires a return to obedience, focus, and authenticity. In this extraordinary season, half measures will not suffice. God is calling for complete harmony with His purpose. Goals, desires, and actions must be evaluated under the lens of divine alignment. Compromise, procrastination, or superficial devotion will not bring the breakthroughs you seek. The universe itself mirrors this urgency, creating pressure points in life that push you toward conscious, immediate correction. Understanding that this season is exceptional allows you to approach it with reverence, determination, and courage. It is a divine invitation to rise above past mistakes, embrace your calling fully, and act decisively. Those who respond will witness transformation beyond ordinary comprehension, relationships restored, doors reopened, and God's power manifesting in ways that affirm both His love and your role as a chosen one. At this critical moment, God is not asking for partial effort. He is demanding 4 essential actions that will restore alignment and open the flow of blessings in your life. First, harmonize every goal, every plan, and every desire with Him. This is not a casual adjustment. It is a full recalibration of your life to reflect divine purpose. Second, truly understand how divine alignment works, recognizing that every action has a spiritual consequence and that obedience is both the key and the path. Third, learn the tactics of obedience. This is about more than following rules. It is about cultivating habits, choices, and decisions that consistently reflect faith, trust, and integrity. Obedience in this time is strategic, deliberate, and transformative. Fourth, show authenticity and trust. God requires a heart that is open, sincere, and willing to act even when outcomes are uncertain. Authenticity and trust create resonance with the divine, allowing guidance and blessings to flow freely. Implementing these 4 actions is not optional, it is essential. Think of them as spiritual levers that unlock the door to restoration, clarity, and favor. Every step you take in alignment will ripple across your life, influencing relationships, opportunities, and even your inner peace. The sooner you act, the sooner the flow of blessings will return, and the path to your destiny will become illuminated. Divine alignment is not a concept to be memorized. It is a reality to be lived. It functions like a perfectly orchestrated system where your intentions, actions, and faith interact with God's will to create results that transcend ordinary understanding. When you operate in alignment, your life flows with ease. Challenges are manageable, doors open, and blessings arrive in unexpected yet perfect timing. Misalignment, on the other hand, creates friction, frustration, and stagnation. Understanding alignment requires more than belief. It demands observation, reflection, and correction. It is about noticing where life resists you, asking why certain situations are stagnant, and recognizing that these are signals from God demanding recalibration. The universe works in tandem with God's plan, nudging you toward actions, relationships, and decisions that resonate with your higher purpose. Alignment is both a science and an art, a balance of conscious effort and spiritual attunement. When you grasp the mechanics of alignment, life transforms. You begin to anticipate challenges as opportunities, see setbacks as lessons, and understand that every detail, from the people you meet to the paths you take, is part of a larger, divine choreography. The power of alignment lies in conscious participation. Your choices, prayers, and actions are amplified when fully synced with God, creating a life of purpose, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. Sometimes, the universe itself becomes a mirror of divine urgency. Opportunities vanish, plans stall, and situations become increasingly uncomfortable, not as punishment, but as cosmic guidance nudging you toward God. The pressure is intentional. It is meant to compel awareness, provoke introspection, and create a sense of urgency that words alone could never achieve. The universe is an ally in your return. It is signaling that the time for delay is over. Every challenge, delay, or repeated setback is a form of cosmic intervention designed to redirect you. Relationships may shift, resources may pause, and life may seem heavier than usual, all because the universe, in partnership with God, is forcing a reckoning. It is a call to stop ignoring the signs, to embrace humility, and to act decisively. The force is not punishment. It is an invitation to awaken your inner resolve and take immediate steps toward realignment. Those who respond with awareness, faith, and action experience profound transformation. Doors that were blocked open with ease, relationships begin to mend, and the once elusive flow of opportunities becomes visible. Understanding the universe's role in this process reframes adversity as an instrument of divine love, a sign that your realignment is not only necessary, but imminently possible. Divine messages are rarely obvious to everyone. They are coded in a language only the chosen can comprehend. These signs may appear as repeated synchronicities, sudden insights, or moments of profound inner knowing. While some may dismiss them as coincidence, the chosen recognize these moments as intentional communication from God. These signs are meant to awaken awareness and provoke immediate action. The beauty of these signs is that they are personalized. Unlike universal advice or teachings, they resonate uniquely with your journey, reflecting your experiences, challenges, and spiritual growth. They may appear subtle, a missed train, a chance encounter, or a persistent thought, but their meaning is unmistakable to those attuned to divine guidance. Recognizing them requires a keen heart, discernment, and a willingness. The final truth is urgent and unyielding. The time to return is now. Delay risks more than temporary setback. It risks the loss of alignment, purpose, and blessings that have been patiently waiting for your readiness. Restoration, healing, and breakthrough all begin with a single, deliberate act of obedience. Waiting for easier circumstances or clearer signs only prolongs struggle. Immediate action is the catalyst for transformation. Return by harmonizing your life with God's guidance, surrounding yourself with those who reflect divine truth, and committing to authentic, trustworthy obedience. Each step taken in alignment sends ripples that restore flow, mend relationships, and create opportunities that were previously blocked. Even long-standing struggles begin to shift when obedience is embraced with sincerity and faith. Obedience is not a restriction, it is empowerment. Through it, the chosen regain clarity, strength, and divine favor. God's blessings, once delayed, begin to manifest abundantly, demonstrating the power of realignment. The choice is clear. Return now, act decisively, and witness a life transformed, or risk continuing a path of misalignment where opportunity, peace, and purpose remain out of reach. The call is urgent, the consequences real, and the reward eternal alignment with God beyond measure. There is a moment in every chosen one's life when hesitation becomes more dangerous than failure. This is that moment. You can feel it in your spirit, the quiet pressure, the inner knowing that something must change now, not later. God is not shouting, but his silence is louder than ever. This decision is not about perfection, it is about direction. Which way will you turn when delay is no longer an option? Returning before it's too late does not mean you haven't failed. It means you are still being invited. God does not withdraw the call easily. He waits through confusion, resistance, and pride, allowing free will to run its course. But when the invitation becomes urgent, it is because the window is narrowing. This is not fear-based. It is truth-based. Destiny has timing. Many miss this moment because they expect fireworks or dramatic signs. Instead, it arrives quietly, wrapped in discomfort, restlessness, and the realization that life cannot continue the same way. What once distracted you no longer satisfies. What once worked no longer works. This is the moment God is asking you to choose alignment over familiarity. If you respond now, the return will be met with grace. Not ease, but grace. If you delay, the cost increases. The decision is not about whether God will forgive, it is about whether you will listen while the door is still open. This is the moment where humility becomes power. Alignment does not just fix one area of your life, it restructures everything. When you move back into harmony with God, clarity replaces confusion almost immediately. Decisions feel lighter. The constant mental noise begins to quiet. You start recognizing what truly matters and what has been draining you all along. Alignment shifts your inner world first. Anxiety loosens its grip. Guilt stops whispering. You begin to trust yourself again because you are no longer moving alone. God's presence brings stability, not by removing all problems, but by anchoring you while you face them. You stop reacting and start responding with wisdom. Externally, alignment creates momentum. Opportunities that felt blocked begin to reappear in new forms. People respond to you differently because your energy changes. You no longer chase validation or outcomes. You attract what is meant for you. Life starts cooperating instead of resisting. Most importantly, alignment restores meaning. Even hardship feels purposeful. You wake up knowing why you are doing what you are doing. That sense of being lost fades, replaced by direction and peace. Alignment doesn't make life perfect, it makes it true. Resisting God does not usually lead to sudden collapse. It leads to slow erosion. Joy fades quietly. Passion dulls. Motivation turns into obligation. You may still function, succeed, and appear fine on the outside, but something essential is missing inside. That absence grows heavier over time. Resistance creates spiritual friction. You push forward, but nothing flows. Effort increases while results diminish. Relationships strain for no clear reason. You begin questioning yourself, your worth, and your purpose, not realizing the real issue is misalignment, not inadequacy. Over time, resistance hardens the heart. What once felt wrong starts feeling normal. Conviction weakens. Sensitivity to God's voice fades. This is not punishment, it is distance. And distance always has consequences, even when life looks stable on the surface. God continues calling, but the longer resistance lasts, the more painful the return becomes. Not because God withdraws love, but because habits, pride, and fear grow stronger. Responding earlier is mercy. Waiting longer is unnecessary loss. God's timing is never rushed, but it is never random. Everything happening now, the pressure, the urgency, the discomfort, is intentional. You are not late by accident, and you are not early by chance. You are here because this is the moment designed for your return. Waiting feels safer than acting, but waiting is often disguised fear. Fear of surrender, fear of change, fear of trusting again. Divine timing does not mean passive waiting. It means active obedience when the signal arrives, and the signal is here. Many people miss divine timing because they want certainty before obedience. God works the opposite way. Movement comes first. Clarity follows. The step you are avoiding is often the one that unlocks everything else. This is not about doing more. It is about doing now. Delaying alignment does not improve readiness. It weakens it. Trust that God's timing includes this moment, not some future version of you. Restoration is not a feeling. It is a decision backed by action. God responds to movement. When you take even one sincere step toward alignment, the spiritual atmosphere shifts. The heaviness begins to lift because heaven recognizes willingness. Immediate action does not mean drastic change overnight. It means honest change today, ending what you know is wrong, returning to prayer, not performance, choosing obedience in the small places where you've been compromising. Restoration often begins quietly. A changed habit, a restored conversation, a decision no one else sees. But these small acts signal readiness. God builds on responsiveness, not promises. The longer you wait to act, the more complicated restoration feels. But when you move now, grace meets you immediately. God does not demand perfection. He responds to direction. No chosen one is meant to realign alone. Isolation weakens discernment. The people you surround yourself with either pull you closer to God or slowly normalize distance. This is why community matters more in seasons of return than seasons of success. Faithful companions remind you who you are when you forget. They speak truth when emotions blur judgment. They model obedience in ways sermons never can. Being around those close to God sharpens your spiritual awareness naturally. Alignment accelerates when you remove constant spiritual noise. Conversations change, priorities shift. You stop defending disobedience and start desiring growth. This is not about superiority, it's about influence. God often restores through people. Choosing the right environment is not optional, it is strategic. Where you stand determines how fast you rise. When your goals align with God's will, striving transforms into flow. You stop forcing outcomes and start partnering with divine timing. Effort becomes effective because it is no longer self-driven alone. God does not remove ambition. He refines it. Goals aligned with Him carry endurance, meaning, and protection. Even delays serve purpose instead of frustration. You gain patience without losing momentum. Harmonized goals also protect you from success that destroys you. God blocks what would cost you peace, integrity, or purpose. What He allows is sustainable, not just impressive. The reward is not only achievement, it is peace while achieving. Alignment ensures you don't lose your soul while building your future. Some doors are closed, not because you are rejected, but because you were misaligned. When alignment returns, doors don't just open, they open smoothly. Resistance disappears where effort once failed. Divine guidance redirects you to paths you could not access alone. Conversations change, opportunities find you. Timing aligns in ways logic cannot explain. This is not luck, it is order restored. You may notice that doors open differently than expected. God often replaces what you wanted with what you needed. And in hindsight, the difference becomes clear. Closed doors were protection. Open doors are confirmation. Alignment determines which you experience. Trust is not belief, it is surrender. When you truly trust God again, control loosens. Anxiety fades. You stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios because you no longer feel alone in responsibility. Trust restores intimacy. Prayer becomes conversation, not transaction. You speak honestly, listen quietly, and move confidently. Faith feels natural again, not forced. With trust comes courage. You take steps you once avoided. You let go of outcomes you once obsessed over. Life feels lighter, even when challenges remain. Trust reconnects you to peace, and peace becomes the foundation for everything else God builds. When obedience returns, resistance fades, not just spiritually, but circumstantially. Things line up, timing improves, you feel supported instead of blocked. The universe responds to alignment. This support doesn't mean ease, it means cooperation. Effort produces results again. Energy multiplies instead of drains. You feel carried, not burdened. Obedience recalibrates cause and effect. You move with purpose, and life moves with you. This is why alignment feels powerful. It restores order. When you obey, you stop fighting reality, and reality starts working with you. Thank you for taking this journey to understand the urgency of returning to God and embracing your true purpose. Every moment of reflection, every step toward alignment is a choice that shapes your destiny. Remember, God's call is not about fear. It is about love, restoration, and the fulfillment of your highest potential. This is your reminder. The time to act is now. Don't wait for perfect conditions or easier circumstances. Align your heart, harmonize your goals, surround yourself with the faithful, and trust God fully. When you do, doors that were once closed will open, relationships will heal, and your life will flow with divine favor. Rise boldly as a chosen one, take immediate action, and embrace the restoration that is waiting for you. The journey back may require courage, but it is also the path to peace, abundance, and eternal alignment with God. Your time is now. Return, obey, and watch how God transforms everything in your life.